Café and Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, podcasting and connecting people from my studio in Brazil. Today we talk with Stephan Gregg, and he's joining us from Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida. Stephan Gregg is the mentor for the masses, teaching coaches, entrepreneurs, small business owners to build brand identity and attract 5 new clients per week through online networking. He is also founder of Brilliant Designs Agency. So, Stephan, why is learning online networking skills important today?
Great question, Tom. The reason why online networking is so important today is because right now everything's gone online. If you really think about it, a few years ago, we used to do a lot of networking, especially small businesses, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, coaches. We used to go face to face, belly to belly, meeting people, networking, that way. Up until a couple of years ago, the world changed, right? This virus came along and all of a sudden they stuck everybody in their house. And so now you have all these people all around the world looking at a screen, just like what we're doing right now, just looking at a screen, talking. And what I found in my business, I'm the mentor for the masses, and I'm an expert at online networking. And so it didn't really affect my business at all because I just kept going, doing what I was doing. I've been doing this for 10 years. But what happened, I started talking to, my associates that were not used to doing online. They were used to doing it offline. And what I found is a lot of them were struggling. They were struggling because they didn't know how to communicate their message through a video or online. They didn't know how to explain what they do to attract their customer. So that's why I started putting together coaching programs and started teaching people specifically how to attract their ideal customer so they can generate sales very, very quickly. Because that's what I do every single day. And that's why I see learning this skill set is so important to learn online.
Well, I can see that because even through the pandemic, companies that were successful were companies that did that before the pandemic.
That's right.
The pandemic would just happen. But in my business, I've been doing this like you for years. And what I first said, you have to learn to talk to a wall because we've always trained ourselves to talk to people. We want to look in their eyes, it's a touchy-huggy thing. But if you can mentalize talking to a wall and imagining what you want to say and then practicing that comes through.
That's right. And a lot of people never knew how to do that, especially sales professionals. They're used to the one-on-one because they try to do facial, the expressions and try to mimic their body tone and language and all that. But online, you really can't do that. Another thing online, you have a short period of time because sometimes they give you 30 seconds or they give you 1 minute to speak and say what you have to do. And you got to be able to impact people and attract those people. And I kind of relate it to fishing. Online, you're doing online fishing and you have to figure out what fish want to eat, where your fish are located, and are you throwing out the right bait? And that's what I teach. I teach people the right bait to put out with the right fish and where they're fishing to make sure that they can, catch what they're trying to catch, which is, of course, a prospect that wants their product and services.
Well, that's important because it's not one hook catches all. Now, you help your clients customize their cast, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. What I do is I actually work with entrepreneurs, sales professionals. I work with a lot of coaches and small businesses and entrepreneurs. And what I do is I show them how to attract their ideal clients. I do it two different ways, really. I do it one way with branding, because nowadays, especially being online, I talked about you have to be able to attract your ideal customer, and the best way to do that is to make your brand look good. Like right now, you have your logo behind you, you have your Spotify behind you. You can see your brand, so you look like an expert without even saying anything to you.
That's it. We have to look and sound like experts.
That's right. So usually I would have a backdrop about my business, but on this one, I didn't have the ability to do that. So, but I have this, but usually I have my, Brilliant Designs Agency banner behind me. So when people look at me, they see my logos, they see my website address, they see that I'm an expert without me saying a word. So everyone else has a blank screen or they have their picture of their kids behind them. I have my business behind me so people see me immediately.
You could have your pictures of your kids if you have a nursery, right?
That's what, if you have a nursery. But if you do a business, you better have something about your business behind you. And that's what networking should be about. A lot of things that's happening. Another thing in networking is a lot of people get on networking, and they always talk about just build relationships. Get on there just to build relationships first. And that's great. But I'm here to do business. Right. And so I've learned how to go in there with the intent to build relationships. But because my skill set has learned how to attract my ideal client, while I'm building relationships, I pick off 2, 3, 4, 5 prospects every single time I do networking. While everyone else is building relationships, I'm generating business. And that's what I teach.
Well, I agree with you, because there are 8 billion people out there in this world.
Yeah.
And I say we have to concentrate on a few, but we can concentrate on the ones we know, because that brings credibility. But we do need new fresh fish once in a while.
Well, yeah, man, you can't go fishing in the ocean looking for salmon, right? You got to go where the bears are hanging out, and you got to go look for the bears, first of all, because the bears know where the salmon are.
The bears know where the salmon. That's a good one.
That's right. And that's kind of like with podcasting. You know who the prospects are. You know who the business people are on this podcast. That's why I'm here, because I'm fishing where the salmon are. All your business professionals are my customer.
That's true.
Or if I go to a networking event online, I look and see who are the people that they're speaking to. Mm-hmm. Those are the people I want to speak to. So I go on to that networking group. So that's the first thing you have to do. Then you have to give the right bait, and which is what you say.
That's true. And today that's more important than it used to be. And back to the online network, that's where we are today. That's where the opportunities are today. I'm not saying they're not locally, they're not in a meeting room, but they're literally everywhere. So online helps you be everywhere.
That's exactly right. You could be everywhere, all over the world, right from your home in your pajamas. You know what I mean? I've generated more money this year in my pajamas than I ever have in my entire life.
Well, the way we'd work, I'm working when I'm sleeping, and it's not me working. What I've done works for me. That's right,
because it's recorded. That's another benefit that you didn't get years ago, and that's why small businesses or medium-sized businesses, if they want to grow their business, what they need to do is teach their team to how to effectively network. Right. If they had a salespeople of 10 people, the number one skill I teach them is how to network online, because now they can grow their business all over the world, market their services and products all over the world, and now they have a worldwide growth business without having to spend more money to market and drive the traffic.
Well, that's a good point when you say everybody needs to learn. Your team needs to do it. It's not just the boss. It's not the owner. It's just not the marketing people. The organization, if you have 2 people, it's those 2. If you have 10, it's all 10. And that's part of the secret to success. Well, Stephen, I want to thank you for being part of our show today. Thanks for getting up early and receiving us, and success, okay? Where can our audience find you?
Sure. They can actually go to our website, which is Brilliant Designs Agency. And also about the training that I work with, it's called NetworkingConversionSecrets.com. They can go there and find out all about how networking works and get some free gifts and all kinds of great stuff there.
Very good. Well, thanks again, Stephen.
Hey, thank you, Tom. I appreciate you.
Okay, and for our audience, again, it's Stephen Gregg, Stephen. The last name is Gregg, Gregg. You find him on LinkedIn and also NetworkingConversionSecrets.com. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on their website, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.